Hello, and welcome to the New York Jazz Workshop. Today, I'm going to talk about practicing your long tones, which is a huge deal with playing a horn or the saxophone in particular. But sometimes you get to a place where you feel like, hey, I don't want to work on these long tones any longer. So what I like to do sometimes when I get to that space is I like to combine exercises. So I'll be working on my long tones, but I'll also be working on something else at the same time. And one of those things that you can work on is practicing over changes. You can play your long tones over changes, and it'll help you kind of understand the changes better and make you feel a little bit more connected. So I'm going to do some long tones over the B flat blues. You can start there. You can just play roots. But then you can try to make different kind of connections as you do this. So this time, I'm just going to think about the chord tones, which will help me to kind of familiarize myself with the chords more. So here's me doing that. Then another thing to kind of get a little bit more creative is I'll try to just only play half notes or whole steps. So that's one of the things to kind of help you to maybe think about those extensions that may, harmonic extensions that may exist in the chord. And it's also kind of tricky because you have to kind of figure out a way to get through these changes without making any sort of larger leaps. Another thing you can do is make large anabolic movement. So it also helps you to kind of work on your anabolic, larger leaping kind of ideas. So here's an idea of that. You can also make the rhythms different. You can practice in half notes, instead of whole notes. You can practice quarters, eighths, or other rhythms that may be interesting to you. You could also make the intervals. You can, like I did with one, you can make, say, oh, I'm only going to practice half steps and whole steps. Or you could say, oh, I'm going to only move in minor thirds or major thirds. It's an exercise that you can continue to work on, and also you're combining two things at once. So thank you so much for being here with me. I hope you got something out of it. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.